Okay, so today we're going to be doing something a little different than usual. Today I would like to try and create the ultimate business Bluetooth headset. You may be wondering, what do I mean by ultimate business Bluetooth headset? Well, there are different types of Bluetooths, and as I went over in one of my videos on this $150 cable, not headphone set, $150 Bluetooth cable, which you can see over here. I reviewed this RMCE BT2 cable, which isn't that great. The microphone on this cable, this is $150, not for the headphones. This is not a $150 set of headphones. The cable you attach the Bluetooth headphones to is about $150, and the microphone that's built into it is complete trash. The microphone built into this is actually worse than what you can get on a $40 Bluetooth cable available on Amazon. It's garbage. It's very difficult to get everything to be good with Bluetooth. And I know this is the internet, so I realize that when I say what I need, somebody's going to go, "Oh, you should have just tried this thing." When not only will that thing that they specified not do what I ask, but it'll be a product that they didn't even try. This is the internet, so I'm not even going to ask that you not do that, because I just get it out of your system right now. Just do it. Google a product that has both good microphone and also both good audio quality. It's probably not going to, but you just get it out of your system. That being said, so you have products like the Plantronics Voyager 5200. These have really good microphone. You could ride a bike at 30 to 40 miles an hour. Of course, I'd only be doing this with just purely the power of my quadriceps, because doing that with a motor would be wrong. But you could be riding a bike at 40 miles an hour. The wind could be blowing in your face. It could be a storm. And with this microphone, the other person on the other end will still hear you perfectly. However, the earpiece over here, that little speaker, this is some 1930s intercom bullshit. It's fucking garbage, and Plantronics should be ashamed of themselves for putting it in there. Further, in addition to it being some 1920 intercom carbon speaker microphone horseshit, it also doesn't actually block out any noise. I found this thing online, so I found these things. They actually fit into Plantronics headsets to try to make them sound a little bit less like garbage, so at the very least, they would sound like garbage, but it would block junk out. Now, this adapter is supposed to make them sound less like shit, so instead of it just being an earbud, which rests over here, which is totally useless. Ever since I was a teenager, I've wondered how people use these headphones. They're garbage. Somebody made an adapter for this Plantronics headset so that instead of it just sitting over here and not blocking out any outside noise, which makes it completely useless, it at least tries to go into your ear a little bit, allows it to go in your ear just a little bit so that it blocks out some noise. The problem is that this does not actually have the same type of in-ear fit that something like the Shure SE215s or the 425s have. So these headphones are very good for listening. They have very good audio quality for listening. However, all these MMCX dongles, they have a shit microphone. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to combine this into one working headset. So I want the microphone of this so that other people can hear me. But then I also want the not just audio quality of this, but also the in-ear fit that this has to where you do not hear wind noise so that I can hear the other person. What I've been doing anytime I'm on a bike is I will actually have two Bluetooth headsets on. I'll have this in my right ear, and I'll have this in my left ear. And when I want to start talking, I will switch to this. And when I want to listen, I will switch to this. And that is complete and utter garbage and bullshit. So we are going to try to combine these two tonight and see if we can make a single Bluetooth headset that has the qualities of both. I am going to try to wire up a Shure SE425 earbud into the Plantronics Voyager 5200 so that I can hear the other party and also they can hear me. I realize that this is ridiculous that I'm doing this, but I assure you, I have been through many of these fucking products, and I have not found a single one that has both the audio quality for listening that I would get from a Shure SE215 or 425, but also has the microphone quality of the Plantronics Voyager 5200. There are certain products that come close. So Jabra has the Evolve 75. So they have this thing, which looks pretty cool. This looks like it would have a proper fit as an in-ear monitor. So this thing looks like they have a decent fit in your ear. And it also has the microphone that purposely sits by your neck. Anytime it knows where your microphone is sitting, they can get good audio quality. The reason this thing sucks is because it could be here, it could be here, it could be here, it could be here. Since the developer doesn't know where the microphone is going to be resting, they cannot create some sort of good blocking out noise kind of shit. Now, this thing is about $258. It has about 2 to 3 stars on most websites because it dies very easily and it is constantly glitching, it's constantly hissing, it does all sorts of terrible things. It's a piece of shit and it's $258. I've tried every single different type of earpiece to this. I've bought many different ear tips to go in here. It's not just that the earpiece does not fill as well as the Shure earpiece, but rather if you take a look at how the Shure contours around here, the way that this Shure contours, it's designed to fit in a way where you're not going to hear a bunch of wind noise. So when I have the Plantronics in, even if I have this attached in my ear, it doesn't fit the way that it should to block out the wind noise. Whereas if you take a look at how this thing fits in my ear, it really makes sure that no wind noise is getting in there, which is a good thing. Whereas the way the Plantronics fits, it's getting constant wind noise in there. There's wind noise all over the place. So it actually winds up being painful to hear because the way it fits in, even if this is shooting noise into your ear, the wind is getting tunneled into that spot. And if you try to use this thing while you're on a bicycle, it's trash. It's unusable. It's completely unusable. So I'm going to open this thing up, and we are going to see if I wind up wasting $70 to do this stream, or if this winds up being useful to somebody who wants to create their own hybrid. So I am going to try and see if I can cut this thing up, and we're going to try and cut up this Bluetooth and see if we can wire the Shure SE425 in there. I have absolutely no idea how this thing opens up. I have no idea how to even open the box, actually, so the idea that I would be able to get in here and modify it is most likely laughable. But this will be good for you. Environmental awareness, safe to use outside in a job by not blocking any noise. Yeah, I call that, I'll choose my fucking environmental awareness. What I do is this. Right ear aware, left ear phone call. Like, it's that easy. But the thing is, if neither of my ears can hear the phone call, then I'm fucked. I'm more than happy to have one ear outside, this ear that. And plus, none of the accidents I've been in so far have been as a result of headphones. They've been as a result of individuals running out of their blinker fluid. Okay, so let's open this thing up. And here we go. So we have the headset here. Here we go. Now what I want to do is I want to tap into the wires for the speaker itself and run it to a wire that I'm then going to run out to the other one, and then use some of the conformal coating stuff that I have to reseal it around the wire. So there's actually several wires in here. So I was expecting there to be a positive and a negative, but I see more than that. Okay, so this is more complicated than I thought. Okay, so which is for the speaker? So we have this red wire that turns into a silver one. We have a blue wire, and then we have a red and blue wire, and then we have a black wire. Oh, so this wire looks like it's already right about to break. See that thing in the middle? Yeah, this thing in the middle looks like it's already right about to break. That's terrible. Okay, so we lift this out of here. Here we go. Okay, so the black and the blue wire are what I'm... Wait a second. There's a black and there's a blue and there's a... What? There's a black and a blue and a red. What? You can't have 3 wires for a goddamn speaker driver. This doesn't make sense. Okay. There's you. There's you. There's whatever the fuck this is, which I don't even know. There's like a secondary bullshit. Or it is normal ohms mode. Close enough. Alright, so that's it. I'm satisfied. That's it. Now the problem is I can't get in here without burning the plastic outer housing. At some point I am just going to have to go for it and wish for the best. Is that pretty? Not really, but it is a solid solder joint. And I have not ripped up this wire. I'm going to measure and just out of curiosity see what resistance is now. Now since that is nothing but a wire there, it should not increase or decrease the resistance. I should still be getting the 16 ohms of the driver itself that is there. And I do. So the first thing I want to do is see if this actually works. Will it play audio? So this is my DPA 4065 wireless microphone that I use for myself. What you just heard was a stock sound from the Plantronics headset. and that's the sound from my Shure SE425. So this project appears to be almost complete. So now we have sound coming out of both. Okay, so the sensitivity is way higher on this, and it's also in-ear. So at any given volume, you can barely hear the Plantronics, but you very loudly hear the Shure. Okay, so it's been a few days since I performed that modification. Let's go over a few things here. So the first thing to go over in terms of how this turned out, the first thing we go over is that my conformal coding job was garbage. It was pretty bad. So Paul here came to my rescue as he usually does when I screw something up, and you can see that he redid the conformal coding and he used some other stuff over here so that it actually would make a proper seal and would not fall apart in the future. And this actually works pretty sexy now. Before, this was kind of splitting. So this actually fits pretty nicely. So this setup, it's fairly well sealed. I don't have to worry about it. And the sound quality that comes out of here is actually pretty good. This mission worked. It was a partial success. There are two failures here, though. Two big points that make this not really practical. The first point is the volume. A lot of people were saying when I was doing this on stream that most likely I was going to kill the internal amplifier here because I was halving its impedance by adding yet another 16 ohm headphone so that it would see an 8 ohm load. This would be bad. If I run it too loud, things are not going to work right. It's actually the opposite problem. Even at the lowest volume, so if I hit low volume on here over and over and over again and lower the volume in the phone all the way, it is still too loud because this driver is far more sensitive than the driver that's in here. So with the same amount of power, this is going to produce much more. Now, this driver, as is, already is pretty loud in calls. At the very least, when you set it to music, it seems like you get much more granularity. When it comes to call volume on Android, you don't get that granularity. You don't get as many increments. With this headset, once I turned it into an in-ear, even at the lowest volume, once I've converted this to an in-ear, it's a little loud for my taste. But when I'm using the Shure in-ear, it is way too loud for my taste. And I have yet to find a way to manually adjust call volume down on Android. There are many, many applications that claim to be able to do this to allow you to lower your call volume below what the minimum is, and I have not found a single one that works. So the first problem here is that. The second issue that I've experienced with this headset is that, you know that thing about Plantronics' Legend and Voyager Pros and 5200s having some of the best wind reduction you can find? Bullshit. That's kind of bullshit. I thought that this earpiece was not making a good fit in my ear because I was still hearing a lot of wind noise and other strange outside noises. But that was actually this headset playing a trick on me. What this headset does is it takes noise that it hears from the microphone and then sends it back, amplifies it through the earpiece, and sends it to your ear. This is awful. Now, I can understand if you had a headset that was designed for both ears to block out all outside noise so you could hear nothing. In that case, I could understand why the microphone in the headset would decide, I'm going to feed you back a little of your surroundings so that you don't wind up getting hit by a car or a bus. That makes sense. However, the stock configuration of this headset allows enough ambient noise to get in as is. As I said, not only does the stock headset come with an earpiece that is not in-ear monitor that if I put here provides 0 decibels of outside noise reduction, but at the same time, it's mono. So when I have this in, I can already hear the 97 dB train. I can already hear the wind noise roaring. I can already hear the New Yorkers on the street getting, "Get the fuck out of my way!" I can already hear the construction. I can already hear people arguing as they race through Penn Station and bump into each other with this in. The ambient noise is already all around me. I don't need your shitty, overpriced headset to then amplify the noise that's coming through the microphone, send it out through the earpiece right into my ear when I already have this other ear, and this ear is already hearing enough of it. If anything, not only does the Plantronics not block out any outside noise, it actually amplifies it. It increases the noise by then taking the noise that is coming through my microphone and then sending it back to my ear, which several other Bluetooths I've tried do not do. If you're going to do that, at the very least, can you lower the volume on that a little bit? Or at the very least, even more so, can you at least have it configured in a manner where it blocks out the ambient noise entirely and then sends a little bit of it back into my headset rather than just blasting my ear with it? So when I set this up, the left earpiece was sending me very, very high volume noise that was being picked up by the microphone. And that's how I figured out that this thing picks up a hell of a lot of wind noise. So as soon as I get a really large gust of wind, I asked the other person if they heard it. They heard it, but I heard it deafeningly loud. That sucks. So this is not practical for those two reasons. This would be practical if A, there was a way for me to lower the call volume in Android below the default level, or B, if I'm able to come up with a way to make this Bluetooth headset not feed back into the earpiece the noise that it hears around me. So what I've done here, and we're going to see how this works, is I've come up with a patent-pending, in-house developed, high-tech windscreen. Because when I Googled this, I noticed that nobody else has tried to solve this problem. So I checked, I Googled, I shouldn't be Googling, I should be DuckDuckGoing, please forgive me. Plantronics Voyager windscreen. And when I do this, there's one person who appears to have made a wind cutter for this. One person. And it's currently unavailable. It's also for an old one, so it's not long enough. So nobody has made one. So I decided to come up with my own high-tech one that we will be selling on store.rossmangroup.com shortly. Jealous? All right. Excited? Jealous? Check this out. Now, this little piece of foam here has to have two characteristics. The first is that when the audio that passes through it cannot have its frequency response altered in any serious way. So I tested that professionally by putting it in front of my mouth, yelling at it into it, and asking Paul if he heard a difference, and he did not. So that is that matter is settled. And then I decided to blow on this little air piece and see if I could feel the air on my hand on the other end as hard as I could when it was not there, and I could not. So that is the second scientific way I was able to ascertain that this was likely going to be a good fit. So I am going to see what the wind noise sounds like with this thing, and hopefully it's reduced. Because if the wind noise is reduced with this, that means that the annoying noise that is fed back to my ear will be reduced, and that one problem will be solved. At that point, I will still have the secondary problem to solve of how the hell do I make this thing lower? It's really interesting to me. It's 2019, and I cannot lower my call volume between here and here. Like, between here and here, there's no steps. Like, really, Android? Really? Really? Really now? I have a quad-core phone. It runs a modern operating system. Give me some more granularity. Jesus. Anyway, so we're going to see how this works. If this works well, then I will be able to use this modification. If this does not work well, then I am going to continue my search for a Bluetooth that is not a piece of garbage.
Okay, this here, I am riding my bike with the little foam piece on the headset. I'm going 19.99999 miles per hour. Because I respect our liberal governor, Cuomo, and our liberal mayor, Bill de Blasio, who are committed to ensuring that climate change continues by making it impossible to use actual alternatives to cars, like an electric bicycle that costs $1,500 and allows you to get around in 15 minutes to where a car would take you a half hour with emissions. I respect it. So I only ride at 19.9 miles an hour. So this is me going over the Williamsburg Bridge at 19.99 miles an hour with my little foam piece over the microphone, and it is very, very windy. Now I am going to stop my bicycle. Okay, this is the Plantronics Voyager 5200. We are going at 19.99999 miles per hour, same speed as before. And this is what it sounds like without the little foam piece over the microphone. I'm not quite sure how that sounds. I guess I'll see when I get home. Damn. That is quite different. I heard a bunch more gusting into my ear. I don't know about you, if you heard that. But
it's a subtle difference, but the difference in what you hear without the foam piece versus with the foam piece is an increase in distortion. Clearly, the Plantronics has doing something funky with its multiple microphone setup and phase relationships to try to cancel out the noise of the wind. And it does a decent job of getting rid of a lot of the noise, although it does add to the overall distortion. And that distortion is clearly reduced when I have the little windscreen that I made over the microphone. So when I'm wearing the headset, it is taking that noise that it hears in the microphone of the wind, and it is passing it back through to my earpiece. So when I'm riding the bicycle at 19.99999999999 miles per hour, and I don't have the windscreen over the microphone is picking up a lot of wind, and the way the Plantronics is geniusly designed, it is playing that wind noise back into my ear. And the last thing that you want to deal with is wearing a in-ear earpiece that not only allows you to hear the sound of everything going on outside, but actually amplifies that sound and plays it back to you like some sort of hearing aid for wind that just increases the noise of the wind. It's very aggravating. However, that aggravation is virtually completely removed by putting that little foam windscreen over the microphone, and I have no idea why it is that Plantronics doesn't include this with the thing. Just include it as a $40 add-on. Have your $100 or $120 headset include a $40 add-on on your website. Go full GoPro or full Apple with it and charge $40 for a 2-cent piece of foam that's custom designed to fit over it. Sell it as an upgrade for people who are in high-noise environments and rake in money. At some point, with the amount of research they put into this product, they had to realize that it sounds much better when you have any sort of foam windscreen, even something like packing material, like the garbage I put together with twist ties. They have to know it clearly sounds better. And not only do they not include something like that at the premium price they charge for the headset, they won't even sell it as an accessory. They don't even want the money. That's some Apple GoPro level stuff right there. A friend of mine who's actually much smarter than me had a really good idea on how to pitch an idea on how to make a headset that doesn't suck to a company like Plantronics or Jabra or Shure Automatic, where all they're used to creating are Bluetooth headsets that are trash, which is to pitch it like this. So you know how there's these new startup CEOs that are all the rage nowadays where they make all their money off of investment and ripping off investors while not actually making net profit? What they like to do more than anything else is go on ski slopes. Because if there's anything you want to do while burning other people's pension funds, one of the best ways you could do that is to do business from a ski slope, which is very, very noisy. And apparently it's also very, very popular amongst this particular type of fuckface CEO. So what you could do is market a headset to them. So because ski slopes are very loud, where when you're on the ski slope, not only will the other person on the line be able to hear you because you have a microphone that's good and not that inline rubbish crap that you get on most of these Bluetooth cables, but since the earpiece will be a properly fit in-ear monitor that actually blocks outside noise, you will be able to hear them. And marketed is the only headset that does this, because clearly very few do. Marketed is one of the few headsets that does it. Sell it for $300 to $700 because, God knows they can afford it by burning through somebody else's pension fund with their investor money. And then this product will actually exist. And then eventually other companies will copy it or knock it off in China or something, and the price will come down to the $100 to $200 range to where mere mortals like me will be able to afford it. I thought that was actually a pretty good idea. And I think the first company to come up with a headset where not only can you hear the other person, but they can hear you, might just have a chance of competing in that space far more competitively and successfully than everybody else. All right, so I've tried this Bluetooth headset with both the little piece of foam on it and the little piece of foam off it. And what I've realized is that the sound difference in just how good this sounds is night and day when you have this foam piece on versus when you have this foam piece off. Without the foam piece on, it's virtually impossible for the person on the other end to hear what I'm saying. With the foam piece on, it's very easy for the person on the other end to hear what I'm saying. It's really sad that Plantronics advertises how good this is based on how it deals with wind noise when the way it's sold stock, it's virtually useless when it comes to lots of wind noise. It's also really sad that for a headset that they charge over $100 for, that they don't make an accessory available, so that I have to find these little hacks like finding packing foam and wrapping it around just so it's usable. Because if they said, here's a wind guard for $20 or $30, even though this thing costs cents to produce, I would probably pay $20 or $30 extra on top of the $120 that this thing goes for just to get a wind guard. I most likely am not going to be using this for a long time going forward because I still can't fix this issue where this is just way too loud for me. So you may see this little contraption for sale on my website shortly. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed my video with my little modification. And if any of you from any of these companies, Shure, Automatic, Jabra, Plantronics, you design a headset that just works. I want to have the outside blocked out so that I can hear the caller, and I want the microphone to be good so that the caller can hear me. And I know I'm asking too much. As my friend John would always say, Lewis, you're asking too much. If you can make one that actually has 2 speakers so that I have good call quality, good microphone that rests on the neck or something, good call quality, and good stereo music, I might just damn near cum my pants. Please make one. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something.